Well, let's get the thoughts now of Professor of Economics at the UWE, Bristol, Jo Michell. So, Jo, OK, so this prominent Arthur Laffer created the Laffer Curve. Can you, in plain English, explain to our viewers and listeners what that means?
The Laffer Curve is an imaginary idea which was written on the back of a napkin when Arthur Laffer needed to come up with a story in quick time. And the story says that if you raise the tax rate, then people will try and avoid paying that tax, and therefore you will take less tax overall. Now, that idea has been conclusively disproved. There are numerous countries that take a much higher share of tax than the United Kingdom, Germany, the Netherlands, France, Finland, Sweden. I could carry on. So nobody takes this idea of Arthur Laffer's seriously. So I think it is essential that Rachel Reeves does raise taxes at the budget. She will need to raise taxes because people in this country are very angry that public services have been degraded since George Osborne was in power, since 2010. People see that schools are not well funded, that hospital waiting lists are growing. And this, I think, is becoming ever more essential. And yesterday's shocking scenes of violence against the police by people carrying British flags and attacking the British state while doing it, I think really highlights why this is so important. Because we have a choice. If this Labour government doesn't... I'm not being funny, I'm going to stop you.
Jo, I don't see the connection with that. The people protesting yesterday to unite the United Kingdom and the Laffer Curve.
The connection is that if this Labour government can't get back on track, and to get back on track, it will have to raise taxes in order to improve public services, which is what I think the population desperately wants and needs. If it can't get back on track, the alternative is a government of Nigel Farage. Reform is the opposition now in the polls. The Conservative Party are in disarray, and Reform are capitalising on conspiracy theories, which were also fueling that violence and disorder yesterday, and this kind of misinformation and conspiracy which is broadcast regularly by your channel, by GB News. So there is a very direct connection, I think, between the essential need for tax rises and for the Labour government to get back on track and rebuild the state in this country, and to prevent the alternative, which is barbarism, I think would be a reasonable way to describe it.
I'm happy to talk to you, and it's really good to talk to you, but please don't insult the channel and the viewers here. The British people who watch this channel, and people from all around the world, have a right to give their opinion, as you do, and they are not far-right or something weird or horrible. They are simply saying that they have another perspective and they don't feel that the government are working in their best interests, which, looking at the way things are being taxed and the uncontrollable mass migration, both legal and illegal migration, which has put a lot of strain on the economy, which surely you can see is a problem for us in this country, because, as you know, the law of supply and demand, we haven't really even got enough homes for the people within this country, let alone having a continuous flow of, say, 1,000 to 2,000 people a week arriving on our shores. You must realise that. And, of course, the legal migration with over almost 1 million people, if not more, at such a short space of time without the infrastructure in place to accommodate it. And that's what people are concerned about. They're seeing their doctor practices overrun. They're seeing travel difficult to get across the capital because everything is so busy. People are looking at their everyday lives and watching and finding that it's very difficult to get on in this country. And surely even you can see that.
Indeed, as I said, people are angry because public services have not kept up with what they need to, among other things, to manage a growing population. But there's no insult cast or intended. I mean, it is the case that Ofcom has found that your channel has been responsible for broadcasting misinformation about the COVID pandemic.
Well, as you say that, well, we're not alone in getting some things wrong, but not deliberately broadcasting misinformation, because we could cast our minds back to the BBC. And also Sky News. We can, you know, look, everybody tries to get it right, but sometimes there'll be moments, even in your life, where you might get things wrong. Don't slag off the channel. We do our best to make sure we do get everything right, and we represent a broad church.
Sentiment against immigrants, who are an essential part of this country, who provide the backbone of our care services, of the National Health Service, who contribute more in tax than they take out, is a scapegoat that is being used by Farage and by broadcasters, including your channel, in order to whip up sentiment, and we've seen the results on our streets in London yesterday with thugs attacking our police while waving British flags, attacking British police, and it is all part of the same story, I believe. And that is why Rachel Reeves needs to raise taxes, and why Arthur Laffer is widely regarded as a crank by almost all economists. And I'm not surprised that perhaps you're giving him some airtime, but what he's saying is patently false.
All right, well, that's your view, and you're entitled to it, but a lot of people struggling in this country, seeing migrants who've come here... No, let me finish. No, sorry. No, it's a two-way thing. You speak, I listen. I speak, you listen. A lot of people are very annoyed watching people coming to this country who've been put in front of themselves when it comes to housing and other things, and getting benefits, having not contributed a penny into this country. And I, for one, can absolutely see why people are rightly annoyed. It is the government who have completely mismanaged the economy. And don't blame people in this country for being annoyed about it. Jo Michell, thank you very much. He's a Professor of Economics at the UWE. Right, 23 minutes after 3 o'clock. This is GB News. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one.